Hey, John.
Hey there. All right. So what did you need help with?
I've never done the Novation Calculator, and now that I'm looking at this, I'm kind of wondering those other novations I have, how those are going to end up actually clobbering me and not helping me.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, let me share screen. Hold on. Okay, so whoops. Basically, this is the Novation calculator right here.
Yep.
So for example, when you gave me the information, right here's your buy box. So you're spending $290 to buy them. Okay.
Okay, so that's
right
what. All right, let me just. I'm going to follow you along with mine.
Yep, that's the wholesale price. Okay, so it says wholesale purchase price. Pretty simple.
Yep.
Okay, then everything else is pre-calculated for you. So then you got to figure out your novation price. And the only way you can figure out novation price is do a deep dive analyzation. We use the big four to begin with, but if I have an underliner like you did on $334,000, really I want to be probably at 334. The highest I'd want to go would be 329.9.
Well, let's do this. Let's use real numbers. I ended up putting in the Zillow number, the Redfin, the prop stream. So you don't use the ARV number. You just use the lowest amount.
Give me those numbers. What's the Zillow number?
All right. So Zillow is 346,600.
Okay.
390,883 for Redfin.
Okay.
Prop stream is 327.
So RPR says it's 331. Okay. So now let me go back here. So then in the calculator, so I do not use this number here because you have some low comps here. All right. So you got a high one, and you got a super low one. I don't like prop stream stuff. I never believe it. But I would believe RPR. RPR is a nationwide MLS, okay? And you don't have access to that. So, but I'm going to look at that one. I'm going to throw this one out. I'm going to throw this one out. So if I throw that out, that's going to take it down to 334. Okay, that's more realistic. Let's use 331. But I want to be at less than that. So in the neighborhood. So I'm probably going to be, probably at probably around 321, probably about 10 grand less. And you punch that in under your novation. And then what it does is it automatically calculates your realtor's fees of 6% here at the top. It puts in 3% concessions because if you're selling it to a retail buyer, more than likely in this market, they're going to ask for concessions. You know what those are, right?
Yeah, so they're going to want some repairs done.
Well, not repairs. This is closing costs. This is buying down points. It's possibly a part of a down payment. It could be for title work, whatever. They're going to ask for concessions, especially if it's an FHA or VA. They're going to definitely ask for concessions. Okay. But you may or may not use this. Then you're going to have, we put in $2,000 worth of closing because you are representing the seller. You will have closing costs because you told the seller that you would pay their closing costs. So you have those closing costs because the buyer is an end buyer. They're not going to pay all closing costs like you would if you're wholesaling. Okay. On a regular real estate contract, usually all closing costs are split 50-50. Okay. And then if you have repairs, you got $5,000 here as a slush fund that you may or may not use. So between this number and this number, there's about $14,000 there that you may or may not use. However, when you run the numbers, that's a $5,000 negative. You don't have a deal. Okay, that's how fast this calculator works.
Okay.
So now, give me one of your. Have you bought a novation or that's not a seller finance deal?
Yeah, so that seller finance deal I did have that we just novated.
How much you buy it for?
50,000.
Okay, what are you selling it for?
90.
$24,000 deal. 25.
Yeah. See, I thought I'd be walking away with quite a bit more than that.
That's why you use the calculator, son. That's why we developed this fucking thing, because everybody miscalculates. Now, it could be a better deal, but you only have $2,700 concession, so you only have about $7,000 here that you might be able to add on to this. But more than likely, if it's a novation, this is a property that needs work. So if you need,
well, this isn't going to be a whole. This is going to be a rehabber buying it, a cash
okay.
buyer.
So then you probably won't have this, and you probably won't have that. So now you can add another $7,000 to that number.
Okay. And that's kind of about where I thought I was going to be after everything was said and done, like somewhere around 34, 35.
Okay. And
but once again, doing the novation, it didn't dawn on me that like we would be paying closing costs and some of these other fees. It just didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, because you're using a regular real estate contract, and because you're using a regular real estate contract, usually it's 50-50. Now, you can put in there that buyer pays all closing costs, and it will save you the $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but from your end, I mean, your paperwork or my paperwork, if you're using that, it says that the buyer pays all closing costs. Well, you're the buyer of this property. You're just doing with seller financing. But so at the same time, you're passing that over, and now you're only having to pay half of it from a seller standpoint.
Okay.
You're A to B, and now you're going from an A to a C contract. But you're in the middle and have to pay A's closing costs.
Okay. So now I have another one, which is those land deals.
Okay.
Which we're probably going to have to change those. So that's 10,000 to the seller and 23,000 to the buyer.
Okay, so right here, you're automatically going to take out $5,000, and more than likely you're going to take out the $700. So you might make 10 grand on them, or just under 10 grand.
I was thinking I was going to land around 10,000.
Now, that's if and only if. What did you negotiate with the realtor on it? Usually they want on a land deal, usually it's 10%.
Oh, no. We're at 5% or 6%.
Okay.
I think it's 6%.
Okay, so they're not paying much out. So no. Yeah, so you'll make, $95,000 to $10,000, depending on what closing costs are. And closing costs are little or nothing. It won't be that much on land. So
okay.